Okay. You can sit in that chair with me.
Nope.
We got
Can we ask
participants.
questions?
This is a practice thing. It's all and it's live. What do you mean no?
Is blue light?
This is a practice thing. It's all and it's live. What do you mean no? What's your nose?
Huh? Blue light?
This is a practice
Is
thing.
blue light?
No, is that? Yeah, I think so. What's your nose? Yeah. You can watch in your room.
Is blue light?
No, is that? Yeah, I think so. What's your nose? Yeah. You can watch in your room.
Is blue light?
No, is that? Yeah, I think so. What's your nose? Yeah. You can watch in your room.
Is blue light?
The link. Hey, what's going on? Can you hear just fine? You can hear me just fine, yeah? All right. Okay, so we are live. So this is the famous like tactical board. So this is from a previous thing I was working on. You can do sort of like animation stuff and all sorts of cool things. And so one of the things that I was working on, like like we talked about, was kind of plays and whatnot from corner kicks, right? We get these corner kick situations where in the game. Yes, Star Wars, yeah, little couple Star Wars stuff, and I got a couple other cool things in my office. I got a lot of cool toys and cool things. What happens when you become an adult and responsible, and you get to spend adult money. So yeah, like I'm working a couple Star Wars games and things like that, and very fortunate to have these things. But anyway, okay, so the the place. Okay, anyway, so this situation here we have. Oh, funny man. Okay, so that's Antonio. Okay, so we got Antonio in the chat and someone else. But so I want to cover corner kicks. We start by covering corner kicks, and we'll start off with a clean board here. So normally, it really kind of depends on the team we're playing. They might have different formation. They might have like the defense might be setting up different. So let's have them be blue. So it's their goalie. They're gonna have their cornerbacks. They might have a playing three back here or four, but I think with a 11v11, they only have four up here. They might have another four. And then three. I know this guy. I'm getting a call from this number. I don't know why I did that. I'm getting distracted. Added a 12th person. Hey, William. Okay, so this is typical formation. So, but we're not going to focus on up here. This is on this side and our side, like for the corner kick. So, blues the defending people. Let's what colors? We're maroon, right? Or burgundy. So our goalie is way up here. Just for the sakes and purposes, normally when you see the number 10, number 11, right? That usually represents the strikers of the forward. So we have our goalie. We have our defense. I'm just gonna put them up out the way here. The goalie back here. When we come corner kick, we're gonna push up our defense. So let's say this is our defense pushing up here, right? So let me get this all set up first, and then we're gonna go over a couple things. You're playing FIFA. You shouldn't be playing FIFA. You should be paying attention here, and then you can play FIFA afterwards. We have we got our people, like the best people, right? We got and then our strikers. Okay, so usually strikers taking the corner kicks, right? So let's say in this scenario, we have a corner kick here. So that's one of our strikers. Let's put a little ball here, right? And so where do we want to set up for? Okay, so we know that their goalie is going to want to be here, kind of be to watching out this way. They're going to be, let me get this line going. They'd be wanting like looking out for the ball that's coming this way, right? So the goalie, they can usually position here or kind of like probably here. So anyway, that's their goalie. And then they're gonna have someone. This is the goalpost. So usually you have someone on the front goalpost. You'll have this cornerback on this goalpost, and then you have these guys up here. They're creating a box. They don't want any of our guys in. And then they have the other guys. They're all gonna be crowding the box. Everyone's gonna be crowding the box because they don't want the ball to go through. And if you hear baby in the background, that's Josiah, because he's visiting me. Okay, that's that kid right there. And you want to play? You want to see what I'm doing? Okay, so anyway, okay, this kid, you saw him at the practice field the other week. So they're gonna be here, right? So where should these guys be? Let me know in the comment, where should these guys be? So I'm trying to set up a situation so not all the time we can be able to, like, the kicker's not all gonna be able to kick it like that every single time, right? He's now be able to curve. We're gonna have like all these beautiful kicks, perfect kicks every single time, curving into the goalposts. So what other places should we have our guys placed? And I'll give you a couple seconds to respond to answer. So their defense, they might be up here. They might be up here so that if the goalie catches the ball, they're gonna punt it down, and then they'll have like the forwards ready to attack. But that's why we have our defense up here to mark 10 and then mark 11. So again, a couple more seconds for some answers. In the box. Okay, so in the box. So we have the other striker here, right? So maybe he wants to position himself here. This is the net, right? So we're kind of hoping, let me get the ball out the way, that we'll kick it like this, going in, so that he can kind of do a header, use the chest, knock it in with the foot, anything, ricochet off his body into the goal, right? So that's a good place here for this person. What about out here? What about this area? A lot of time, often than not, sometimes the ball, I keep changing this thing, so bear with me. Sometimes the ball can kick way out here, and we want to have someone back, someone playing wide. And I've seen this many times. Try to kick a curve and it kind of overshoots the goal and overshoots the box, and there's no one over here. So we have someone here. We still maintain possession of the ball. So usually we want someone here. It's kind of like a fail safe, as you will, right? We want someone here on this side, just in case there's overshot, and maybe this is too crowded. We want to have like maybe a different setup, and it's all about making a key decision. You're being aware. The person's taking the goal cake. They're looking down and seeing where everyone's at. They see no one's on the other side. So hey, maybe this guy's by. Maybe nine is here. Maybe all these people are pushed in the box, and you have all this open space. They're looking for the ball coming here. They're not looking back here behind you. So we want to have someone here just in case. So if we see them all crowded in the box, and through your deduction of what you're seeing, you think maybe it's a better idea to shoot it over across to nine, and someone's they're not better be asking if I want cookies or if Antonio wants to play, because he should be paying attention. So we want someone here, and we want these guys to become. Maybe we want someone in a box too, like here, or maybe here and here, on the top of the box. Maybe we can also shoot it up here. We can pass it up here, right? To take a shot to goal. Number 6. He could be here. It could be here, and it could be here, because sometimes it could ricochet off this person, bounce back, and then we can kind of retake possession here. Who's at the door?
William.
What's he want?
Yes, if I come out.
No, you can't. You're in practice right now. It's 30 minutes. Yeah, go back on your computer. So so it's all dependent on what we see in the box, right? We got to communicate with each other. Say, hey, the box squad. Maybe you could throw a sign, because if you tell them, they're gonna know what's up. So I would probably communicate with my teammates beforehand. Some kind of have like a hand signal, like a little hawk or something. You guys can make up your own things. What I used to do is I would just like a quick um, thumbs up in the air. So if I know one, you saw me playing, right? So when I was in the field against you guys with Madrano's team, and there was a throw in or whatever, I would make sure if I'm open, if I find myself in an open position, I did this. I kind of flagged them. I mean, you might hear me whistle. You might hear me go, right? I'd whistle to get their attention, to know that I'm open. But a lot of times I'm kind of giving away, I'm giving away. So maybe you don't want to be as vocal, or to kind of alert the other people what you're doing. So have hand say don't do something. So when they see whatever you flag and do a thumbs up or whatever, they're gonna see that, and then okay, cool. Now you're all communicating. You guys know what the plan is, right? So no one's here. Maybe I want to go back here, but you're paying attention, so we can, they can do something like up here, and then they'll take a shot at the goal, or they can, once this has been passed, once the ball's in motion. I know it's a lot of squigglies on here, but let me change the color. So once it's in motion, the person that took the kick, he's gonna go and he's gonna move, and that's an ugly thing. So I'm making a straighter line. So he'll probably come up here, maybe, where he can go back and pass it back, or they could do a number of things, right? This person is gonna pretty much engage. They're gonna engage. So this is all about engagement. But let me see. Okay, coach, what if you make plays like football? What if you make there is plays. There is plays like that. So this is actually, one of these plays, you just like, you have to practice them, right? So I'm gonna share with you one of the plays that I had for um defending a corner kick. So when we were defending corner kick and the other teams I had my goalie here. I had a defender here. I had a defender here. I had a defender here. here. I have one on this corner. I have one here. Top. Well, I have one on top of the box. I have one up here. 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 In this corner, and then the 11th person, depending on the corner kick, was taken on this side or this side. They would be here just in case they had they had someone here that they will try to like to pass it through. But you see this, right? You see this defensive formation, right? You all see this? So this is pretty much well guarded. I have the goalie here. This person, you have both of the goalposts defended. So anyone from the outside or the inside, number 2 is responsible for. Number 3 is make sure that no one's coming in from this side. There's no gaps in between, and there's no way someone can get in here. The person, and this is the goalie. He's going to move freely about. They're going to control everyone in here, tell them to move back, move forward. I got this, whatever. They're going to communicate with the other defenders. This person is going to make sure that they can close in. So once the ball's in motion, everyone's moving. So they're not just staying in place, right? So once the ball starts to move, right? Everyone's moving. Everyone's some kind of motion, right? They're gonna stay put. 2 and 3 is gonna stay put. 4, 5, they will adjust. They'll either close the gap, they would back, or they go forward. It was like a short, bad corner kick. And then 1, they're going to orchestrate everything that's going down. Orchestrate means they're going to communicate. They're going to kind of like command and control everything, right? They're going to orchestrate what's all going on inside the box. They can tell them, hey, move forward. I got this. And then once we've blocked the attempt, or they caught the corner kick, and then they'll have time for everyone to kind of go back into place. They're gonna go where they're supposed to go. They're gonna move. They're gonna back up. They're gonna fall back because the goalie's gonna move up, and they're gonna punt it down the field. So that's like a defensive play that I've had on defense. So yes, there are plays for different situations. So this is kind of like the corner kick. So now I think you have an understanding on certain things you do on the corner kick, but certain places you may not be aware of because you're looking at a vertical, on a vertical point of view. Seeing it from the top side, you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Say, hey, so you can kind of see, the open space and whatnot. And so let's cover. I'm gonna change the board to top view. So now we're looking at the full field here. So you want to talk about plays? Let's talk about throw-ins. Throw-ins, another thing that's kind of overlooked. And so we're gonna make that's the defense. That's them, and then we're gonna be on the bottom part. So let me add the little. Let me add the little guys up here. We got the cornerbacks, the left and right backs. Give them their center mids. And this could be different. They could be playing, like 3 in the middle, 4 in the middle. So this is not always going to be the same. So when you start playing 11v11, you're going to see different formations. You can see different setup. You might only see like one person down here. They might play just one forward or one striker. So it might be, have like that one striker. They might have this person like a one forward here, and it'd be like this, right? They kind of like they're stacking these guys. Or they might just have someone like that and have someone like that. And I have something like that, right? 4-3-3. So there's a number of different formations, number of different setup. I don't want to confuse anyone. but I just want to place these guys in here just to kind of go over the next thing I want to talk about. So, and that's which is like the throw-ins. And you're gonna be you have your typical striker slash forward. So our guys, we have our goalie, we're gonna have our left back, center back, another center back, our right center back. We can have our midfielder. We'll have our center mid. We have our right midfielder. We have like another center mid. And then we have our own strikers or forwards, right? So this is typically how typical formation, right? It's not going to be the same for everybody. Okay, so and bring a soccer ball into play. Let's say we have a throw-in. So throw-ins, this is the out of bounds line or out of touch, right? This is the pitch. This is out of touch line, out of touch line, out of bounds line. So we have possession of the ball. Let's say we have a throw-in. It's us. So let me go and okay, so this is our defense, right? Depending where the position the ball's at on the field. If it's down here, they could have a hand on with the throw-ins, but usually we want to throw the ball, we're throwing it up the field, not back, right? Not in the center, because there's a good chance that it could be intercepted with the ball. The ball's gonna fall into place here, and we're gonna have to defend the ball and push it up forward. We don't want to lose that opportunity. Does that make sense? So we want to avoid throwing backwards and putting ourselves in a defensive position. We want to go forward down the field so we have the opportunity to attack and score. So we want the ball, we want to retain possession. We don't want to throw back here and risk losing the ball and then putting ourselves in a defensive position where they can possibly score. We don't want to give them that advantage. So here we have our two strikers. They're not going to come down here to unless he needs help. So if they're going to be guarded, you have their defenders. They're going to try to get the ball too. So you'll probably see this. You saw on the scrimmage. They're in the scrimmage. This is what we saw. Or this is what I saw when we were playing. It was like this. Everyone get out the way. Was wanting them. It was like all crowded, right? It was hard to get the ball to anyone. You throw it in here, or to someone is really tough because you have all these defenders. They're going to contract. Defense is going to contract and then try to get the ball. But that's not always the case, So some of the other teams are more disciplined and they're more experienced where they know where they need to be at. They have more confidence in certain players. Okay, well, we need to mark over here and not be congested here. So over here, nothing's gonna really happen. They throw the ball here, and it's gonna be a whole volley game, right? So where's my? I had a ball here, but it's gonna be a volley. It's gonna be a whole game of volley where they're gonna bounce off a foot and they're gonna kick in. It's gonna do this, and eventually it'll either fall back. It'll fall back here, fall forward, or go out of bounds, or go over here. And it's a lot of wasted time. So, William, there are plays for throw-ins and throw-ins too. Any questions? Any questions so far? Give you a couple seconds. I know there's like a delay um, before I would see anything, so I'll wait a couple seconds see if there's any questions asked in the comments. So we're maroon, right? Okay. So let's say we have the ball here. So they're kind of playing here. They might be here, they might try to, whatever, see if they can help because their job is trying to get, their job is trying to win the ball and to attack, right? So they're gonna be here. They can probably he's gonna come in and Left's gonna be here to see if they can get the ball, intercept the ball. That's why I don't want to throw it here. Ideally, I want the ball thrown kind of like, and this line, right, is what we call. That's what it says by down the line. That's what they mean by down the line. Does that make sense? You throw it down the line to where our guys can get to it. So, because these, most of them they can be marked. They can be marked. They might be here. We have our sediment, so we'll have it to where we can give a shot to get the ball. So, but you have to communicate. You can't just like throw it and whatever. You throw it here, you have he's marked by 8. You throw it in here, right? 9's marked by 7, and then you have 9 kind of like helping out 7 and 8. So you have to see opportunities where you can. So I like throwing it down the line. You're throwing it down the line where kind of like in this area where no one's at. But if it depends, if they're pretty fast and then you get to where you throw it down, he'll catch up. So it's like right here. And then throws it in. So as soon as the ball is going, this person should be going, should be running to catch up to the ball, especially like down towards the corner because they're going to be not as wide or they might not be paying attention, right? So always down here and not so far ahead that they can't catch up with the ball where they would just come up here and go like, thank you. We don't want that. So you just have to, it takes practice kind of not to throw it too hard, just far enough down the line to where only our guy can get to it. If he's down here and you throw it, he can be marked, so they already, you think they're gonna stay right here when he goes out here? No, they're gonna be marked. So where 11 goes, 9 or 8, they're gonna go. But if they stay right here and then you toss it here, they're expecting the throw to be here. A lot of times they're not expecting the ball to be thrown here. So it depends on how they're coached. It depends on how experienced the other players are. And so it's up to you to start analyzing the players and see like, okay, well, you know what? They're not, this person doesn't seem to know what's going on in the field, or, it's like they have like maybe like 3 players that really has experience playing soccer and they know what they're doing. So when you're playing, it's up to you to kind of like get a read, to read your opponent. Their weaknesses and strength, just like our weaknesses and strengths, right? So we can take advantage. So we know if that 5, they're kind of new to the sport, depending on from what we saw throughout the game, every time the ball went that way and he tried to kick it, he misses it or it goes out of bounds. That tells you a lot. You should drop that down in your memory housing group, right? You should make a note of that. So man, every time the ball's over here and number 5 gets it, he can't kick it that far, it goes out or whatever, so we know that this is a weak side. We know that over number 2, he always kicks it back here, because he feels it's safer. Maybe that's how he's coached. It's one of the weaker players on the team. So there's games, an IQ. It's an IQ game. I keep telling you, it's a mental sport. It's a physical sport, but it's also a mental sport. So you have to kind of see what's going on, learn your players and your teammates. So I don't have to worry about five. I know if I know five is as what Antonio like to say is bums or bum cheeks or whatever he calls it, then I'll feel more comfortable, chunking it down here in this area, and he's gonna go because I know he's not gonna be able to do anything with it. He'll get to it, the Vladimir, whoever's on this side. I know that when he get to the ball, able to drive towards the goal and take a shot and either score or block whatever, and we'll follow through. So yeah, so we have that. Any questions? Anything you want to see? Anything else you want to see? Buns, okay, whatever. But yeah, so here's something that I saw from the scrimmage. We play these guys 4 times, right? We played them 4 times. And so now I know who are their, kind of the good players and who are their weaker players, right? I also know who aren't the physical players and who are the physical players, right? So what I mean by physical, I mean that if we have a corner kick situation like we did a couple times during that game. So, you know what? Let's do it up here. So they had the corner kick, right? No what? No questions? Or you don't know what I'm saying? So they had the corner kick, right? They're all in the box. They're all. I don't think they had anyone. They had maybe had like that one person here. They had like maybe one person, but everyone was pretty much up here in the box, right? And we were taking a corner kick, and we were kind of like up here. We had them up forward. It was like this. We weren't really organized for the corner kick. Maybe we had someone here at one point, but for the most part, this is what I saw. Okay, so um, what I know is that we had extra players too. I mean, we had extra people, and they'd had extra people. So I end up on their team as well, but I don't want to confuse anyone. Um, so taking a corner kick, this is how I was defending, right? So I was bumping this guy. So whoever this person was, I was like right here. I was kind of pushing him out. Using my back and using body, and they was like, "What? What?" They weren't expecting that, so they're not expecting to be physical. So don't be scared to be physical because they aren't ready. So like you see a lot of people squeamish, and what I mean by squeamish is that they would flinch, and they would do that, or they would turn their backs, or so they're not used to the physicality. Probably maybe like a in soccer. So you can tell like as soon as you see them playing, you'll know the ones that, well, they're kind of scared of the ball, whatever. So make a note of that. So if they're not gonna um, touch you, whatever, they're not gonna be physical with back, then that's better for us. So that means that we can get to the ball. It goes here because they're not gonna do anything. They're just gonna stand there. They might jump up and they might try to do like a header, but they're not gonna be, pushing you and bumping shoulders or anything. From what I saw, from my experience playing with them, so a lot of them weren't really as physical. And I don't know if that's like I know that's something that they're not used to, or maybe they haven't been playing, or they're scared, or whatever. But yeah, um, I want to know. I want to know anything that you want me to show you on here. But for the most part, I just wanted like to go over the corner kicks and some of the side thing. Can we slide? Okay, so slide. No, we can't. You can't slide. There's no slide tackling. The goalie is allowed to slide tackle, or not slide. He's allowed to slide to save a ball. And let me bring up my thing so we can see our point of view. So okay, so we have a goalie, and the ball is going like this way or whatever, and the goalie's over here. Some reason he's over here. Maybe he was talking to his buddy about what's his favorite cereal to eat on the weekends or whatever. Wasn't paying attention for some reason, right? And they have the ball and they kick the ball, and he can't get to it that fast, but you can slide. You can kind of slide to save the ball, but you can't slide tackle. Slide tackling, you can't. They can't. You can't do this, right? You can't do this and then do that. That's not allowed. The only person that's allowed to slide is the goalie, and that's only when he's making a save. He can slide if he feels he can't get the ball. Slide to the to make a save, to kick the ball. Does that answer your question? So they can't slide, but as a goalie, the goalie can slide when they're making a save. And anything else has been about 30 minutes. Um, I don't think that's much. There's anything else I wanted to go over. We're all doing a good job at playing your position. Um, Communicate more, passing a bit more, and just kind of making better decisions. So we have a new player on the team. So with the new player, I'm gonna have to figure out who, because now I think we have 12. So that means that we have one sub, right? So we have Ramiro. We have, who did I say we have? I know we have Caden playing right fullback, right center back, right? Then I have two other center back. I think I had Talon in, um, I think maybe Juan as a center back from before, and then Jacob. And then so now we had midfielders. So we have William, we have Gearson, we have Carter, we have Leonardo, we have um who else? Who else? And then we have Sebastian. I think I had him playing midfielders or center mid, and then Antonio and Vladimir. Right? Does that sound about right? So we are talking about our offense and then the defense. So how do we want to? We have this is like a super team. We have like a power team. We have like a lot of strong players on our team, right? So we got to be able to utilize our strength. So and I can't we can't play 12 people. We got to play 11 people. So we're having someone, I think, so we have all these midfielders. So we're going to be subbing and alternating, I think, left and right mid. So left, if you're left mid and right mid, you're you're gonna be on rotation. Three people can rotate in and out. That way, everyone's getting some breaks, and we can play everybody. We'll have. I think I'll have. Let me see. We'll make Sebastian an attacking center mid with Antonio and Vladimir. Probably like something like that. So this will be like a 3. So something like that. 3-4-4, right? 4 defense. Well, I can't count. 4-3-3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, yeah. 4-3-3, right? So this will be Gerson. Gerson will be center mid. We'll have left midfielder or right midfielder. 6, 7. And then we'll have center backs. And then we'll have the right and left fullback. So it's gonna be something like that. Any questions? Actually, it's more like that. So 4-3-3. So we have our 3 attacking offense, and we have our midfielders, and then the defenders. Everyone got that? Okay. And we all know on kickoff. So let me go over kickoffs real quick. So let me clear this. And I'm just gonna speak to the camera. I don't think I need this stuff about the on kickoff. So kickoffs, especially in 14U, and from what I've seen, I'm not concerned. 'Cause you know how like you have the captain show up. So hey, captain for the games, the captain show up to the referee, and then they'll talk about okay, the coin. They do either coin flip or whatever. They do rock paper scissors. They'll see who wants what side of the field and who wants the ball first. Now, the only time that I care about what side we have is when it's sunny or there's wind, right? So, because if they get the ball first, it doesn't matter to me. I know we can get the ball right. We'll steal the ball from them from the get go. That's like a 50-50, so we have the ball first, we can easily lose the ball. You see what I'm saying? So, whether we get the ball not first is not really important to me. I'd rather have the strategic field, right? I'd rather be get the best placement field. I don't want the sun in our eyes. You know what I'm saying? So let them get the ball first. I'd rather take the shade or whatever position. So if they win the ball first, we'll pick the side depending on the time of day and where the sun's at. So we'll get the ball with the sun. Will depending, So it's all strategy. So whether we get the ball first or not, I don't really care about that because I know we can get the ball right away. They can play around, they can do whatever, and we can just take the ball from them. But it's all about the weather, right? If it's windy, and let me do a little arrow. So the wind's blowing this way, right? If the wind's blowing from this direction, what's the favorable possession on the field? Is it this side or this side? So the wind's coming from this way, the wind's blowing this way. Who has the advantage? What side has the advantage? I gave you a couple seconds to answer. This side. So this side because you know with the wind, the ball's going with the wind. They kick the ball and it'll travel faster because they have the wind behind it, right? So we want the side with the wind to our back, but we probably it depends on the other team. So if they're a pretty good team, um, we want the ball first. We take advantage of like we have the ball behind our back, so we can kind of get a better shots at the goal, and then we have playing against the wind in the second half. We just have to play better defense. So it just really depends. If we have a good defense, it really shouldn't matter, but we always want the advantage. Um, so if we're ahead, right, then it's not really make much of a deal in the second half of the game. But it really just depends. So it really depends, but um, you always take advantage of the win. So if we can get the side with the win at first, we need to score. We need to score points with the win behind our backs. Because if we don't, and then their half when we change possessions, then we can have trouble because we can have to defend against the win on our side. So it's important when we have the ball first and the wind's on behind the back, we need to do something. We need to score some points. And same thing, when the sun's up, so we don't want to be blinded by the sun all the time. So it's all the factor in playing. It's all like strategy. But that's all I have. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll wait a couple seconds and then I'll just cut off the stream. But there's no other scheduled practice for this week. It rained today. I was gonna have practice today, but then it rained and the field's all muddy and stuff. So we'll pick up next week for practice. So today's the 11th, Friday 13th, and then we have our first game in 2 weeks. The spring break next week. So who's all gonna be in town? So I don't want to schedule. I might schedule a practice or two for next week. It really depends on everyone's spring break schedule. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments, or you can ask me on the group me. But for now, there's no scheduled practice next week yet. Maybe one practice next week because of spring break, but there's no practice this week. Today we were supposed to have practice, but it rained, so there's no more practice for the rest of the week. So just work on what you need to work on your own. You know what you need to work on, right? If you need to work on your footwork, if you need to work on your passes, you need to work on your goal kicks or whatever. Do that at home. You can your backyard, or if you go to a certain park, do that there. So you, me, what? You have questions? Make sure you're hydrating, drinking a lot of water, and then you're running. We got to condition our bodies. We got to condition so that way we're not tired. Remember, we're playing 35-minute halves. It's an hour and 10 minutes. And we need to have one person. We need to have one person to sub between in. So if you can, spend some time, kind of running down your street, your backyard, doing some kind of physical to stay active, right? To condition ourselves. That way we're ready. By the time our first game rolls along, we're not gonna be as tired. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So there's no questions. I'm gonna let you all go. So 6-7. 6-7. Okay, I got 6-7 for you. 6-7 laps. That's what I got. 6-7 laps. My screen's freezing. Why my screen froze? But yeah, okay. That's all. Bye for now.